Hi, welcome to SBR Forum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. This is Into the Weekend with Bet DSI, the call we do every Thursday with Brent, the headlines manager at DSI Sportsbook. We just got done with a bowl extravaganza where Brent discussed all 20 bowls between this Friday and next Thursday. So we appreciate that, Brent. And now we're going to move on to part two of this week's show, where we will look at NFL Week 17, the last week of the regular season, and UFC 155. Brent, thanks for being here with us once again.
Ready to roll, Peter.
All right. In the NFL, with Week 17, you would expect some big line movements from opening, and a huge one was the total in Miami, New England. It opened, I think, at like 49.5. Now it's like 46 or 46.5. What happened? That was sharp. The Sharps just must have just pounded the under on opening, right?
The Sharps were all over that game, Peter.
Yes.
They went under 48.5, under 48, under 47.5. We're sitting at 46 right now, and we're just all one-sided in terms of the under there, sitting at New England minus 10, total of 46. But yeah, it's been all one way in terms of the total of that game.
Guess who hit that with a huge bet on the under himself?
Must be a sharp guy who's on the phone right now.
The sharp guy is on the phone right now. You damn right, Brent. You damn right. All right. Now let's look at the Packers game. That's got to be a huge public side, right? I'm assuming. I mean, especially with the news of Adrian Peterson being injured.
Yeah, I mean, that's just one of those. Packers are always a teaser team, and this week is no exception. The count is about 3-1 in favor of Green Bay. The money's actually not too bad. We took a few larger dollar volume bets on Minnesota and just a ton of volume on Green Bay. So we're not too bad in terms of the money right now, sitting at Green Bay -3, -1/4. We could end up Green Bay -3.5. But Minnesota is one of those teams who, their quarterback hasn't played all that great, but their defense has toughened up. And, of course, Peterson's been fantastic. So we'll see how that one pans out.
Yeah, but with the injury news, I would expect the public to love Green Bay even more. And I might expect the Sharps to come on Green Bay as well. Have you gotten sharp action on the Packers?
No, not yet. Again, it's just mostly been a whole lot of volume. The Sharps really haven't touched this game at all, Peter.
Okay. And then the one huge game of the week is Dallas-Washington for the NFC East title. I'm assuming that you're getting big action on that, but it's mostly split.
Mostly public money on Washington, actually, Peter.
Really?
The count's about 2-1 in favor of the Redskins. Money is about 1.5 times there, but it's been basically all public money there. The only sharp money I got on the side was Dallas when the line was 4. So they came in right away on Dallas when the line was 4 and took that. So if you can get the number, yeah, you can say you've got a sharp public split. At the line right now where it is Washington -3, -1/4, it's been pretty much all public. I do have sharp money on the total, but we took sharp money on the under 50, sitting at 48.5 right now.
Wow. Yeah, that line did go down. Because I would assume, even though RG3 is like, a big, high-profile public player, I mean, I would assume that anytime Dallas is in a big game, you're going to get at least 50% of your action on them. But that's not the case here? From the public, I mean.
Not the case, no. And I think you probably attribute that to the turnaround the Redskins have made and how well RG3 has played. Mm-hmm. And Dallas is one of those teams who just, they can look really good and are so competitive sometimes, and then other times they can just lay an egg.
Yep, absolutely. All right, is there any other notable sharp action or sharp public splits from the rest of the Week 17 card?
Yeah, believe it or not, the New York Jets are actually a sharp bet this week. We've got mostly public money on Buffalo. That's the Jets at Buffalo Bills right now. Buffalo's -3, -120. People have been either buying a half point or betting the Jets when they were +3.5. Also sharp money there. Again, you talk about the sharp money on the unders. You got to talk about the game at Buffalo, at New England, at Washington. Those are games where you could have weather could come into play there, Peter. So sharp money on the Jets and also under 41 and 40.5. I got money under 40. We're sitting at 39 right now in the total of the Jets-Buffalo game there, Peter.
All right, but Brent, last week you told us the Sharps were on the Jets as well, and one of the Sharps on this phone call actually bet them and lost. So are these the same
they were
guys who bet
absolutely
them
terrible.
last? What'd you say?
They were absolutely terrible last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was one of those cases where we had public money all over San Diego, and it kind of continued that way until Sunday as well. If you remember, Peter, that line, was one that kind of stayed up and went even higher and higher on the Jets because of the sharp money, but it really didn't seem to matter in the end.
Yeah, they were wrong, so maybe they're wrong again this week. I don't know, man. Those Jets are awful.
Again, you got to remember with sharps too, and this is something that your public bettors sometimes maybe don't understand as much. Don't want to insult anyone's intelligence, but even if you listen to the show and talk about how the sharp public splits have gone for us, if we've been right, 57% of the time, 58% of the time, a public guy might say, well, that's not very good.
Right.
Whereas someone who's a sharp bettor will take that to the bank.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, well, I lost last week betting the Jets. I'm definitely not going to bet them this week. Are there any other asides and or totals that have gotten notable sharp action or have sharp public splits this week?
Yeah, this Baltimore Ravens have been a sharp side. That was mostly +3 even money. Now the count slightly favors them, the money favors them. So we're going to need Cincinnati to keep their starters in and look good and see what Baltimore does. I don't know, but the sharp money did come on Baltimore there. We don't have a line on Cleveland, Pittsburgh. Cleveland with Whedon and Richardson are both kind of questionable, so nothing to say about that game. The ugly Jacksonville Jaguars +5.5. They're at Tennessee now. You're talking about two really bad teams. The count slightly favors Tennessee. The money's pretty much even, but the early money came in on Jacksonville +5.5. We're down Tennessee -4 right now.
I think those sharps are going to lose. I like Tennessee -4, and I think I'd like them at -5.5 as well. So we'll see. But any other notable action from the NFL this week?
Not so much. No, I mean typical teaser teams this week are New England, Green Bay, New Orleans, of course, and Seattle. Seattle is interesting. I mean, they're a 10.5-point favorite now. I mean, at home, this team is just they're incredible. I mean, they're unbeaten at 7-0. Their home field advantage is just really, really strong. The count's about 3-1 in favor of Seattle on that game. We took some pretty big bets on Seattle -10. We took some big bets the other way, St. Louis +11. So because of that, we're sitting at 10.5 right now. We're pretty much got more Seattle money than St. Louis, but Seattle is one of those interesting stories. I mean, they've got the best defense in terms of points for and against in the league now. Everyone talks about San Francisco, but Seattle offense has scored more points than San Francisco, and they've allowed fewer points. So that's a team to look out for. And a 10.5-point spread, Seattle being favored by 10.5, you just wouldn't have thought of it before. But after last week and the week before, they're there, and like I said, we took a pretty big bet laying Seattle -10, took someone back the other way, St. Louis +11.
Okay, is that sharp action or just like big guys who aren't necessarily sharp?
The sharper action was St. Louis +11.
And then UFC 155 also this weekend. Huge heavyweight fight, Cain Velasquez, Junior Dos Santos. And we previewed the whole main card with Nick Kalikas, who's an MMA odds maker and a consultant for DSI Sportsbook. It's going to be a big action card for you guys, right?
Yeah, anytime you got the heavyweights in the main event, it's always, kind of gets people excited. Kind of like a heavyweight fight in boxing when back in the day when you had good heavyweights.
Yeah.
But no, we'll have live betting on this UFC card, and yeah, this main event especially is going to be a very highly bet fight.
All right, thanks so much, Brent from Bet DSI, for all this great information once again, and we will talk to you again next week.